We are here at the Goodwood Festival of Speed, thanks to Fuji, testing out their brand new X-H2S. So I'm going to be doing the video side of things today, and we're going to be testing real world results to really see what this camera can do. I think the Fujifilm X-H2S is a perfect union between both photography and video. And you can really see this by looking at the overall ergonomic design changes Fujifilm have made to this camera, looking very different to other cameras like for instance the Fujifilm X-T4. Not having an ISO dial but instead having a control dial that allows you to change different shooting modes, as well as having up to 7 custom functions directly built onto the dial. This camera also has a larger and better feeling grip than other Fujifilm cameras, making it a lot easier to hold for both photography but also for filming video. You can also see this camera is built for filming video by looking at the ports, supporting a microphone and headphone port, as well as a full-sized HDMI, something I wish other hybrid video cameras had more often. Now, along with the full-sized HDMI, there is also a new card format. Now, because this camera can film ridiculously high frame rates, you're going to need a card built for speed. Now, this is why this camera is equipped with the brand new CF Express Type B card, as well as a UHS 2 card. This will allow this camera to film high frame rates without having major buffering issues. This camera also supports a 3-inch articulating touchscreen. Great if you're planning on filming a variety of different angles, like for instance high up or low to the ground, but also for composing yourself for both either vlogs and also YouTube videos. Now, with any camera that can film either high frame rates or high burst mode, overheating can be an issue. But luckily, Fujifilm have thought of that with an optional extra fan that can be actually bolted onto the back. Now, we didn't actually have this fan at the time of recording, but luckily we didn't need it. At no point during the day did this camera overheat. This camera also has a new menu system, so you can actually keep an eye on the overall temperature of the camera. Now, obviously, if you're planning on using this camera to the absolute limit, then this actual optional extra fan can extend the recording time by reducing the overall heat to the back of the camera. But if you're planning on filming high temperatures or filming in tropical heat, this particular fan could actually be a lifesaver. Talking about frame rate and resolution, this camera can film a variety, from 1080p all the way up to 6.2K. Now at 1080p, this camera can film 23.98, 24, 25, 30, 50, and then 60 frames per second. And then in high frame rate, it can film 100, 120, 200, and then up to 240 frames per second. Now in 4K, it can film 23.98, 24, 25, 30, 50, and 60 frames per second, and then in high frame rate mode, it can film 100 and up to 120 frames per second in 4K. So 6.2K is actually filmed in open gate, which films at a different aspect ratio. Instead of traditionally filming in 16:9, 6.2K is filmed in 3:2, which gives you greater cropping power when in post-production. 6.2K is filmed internally at 30 frames per second. You have also got the ability of shooting film simulations in video mode. You have up to 18 different film simulations to provide different colour profiles for your video. I found that a Turner offered the best look for the day, although it does require some slight colour correction in post-production. You also have the ability of shooting log on this camera. You can shoot F-Log as well as a brand new log format called F-Log2. F-Log2 has a larger dynamic range with a flatter profile, offering up to 14 stops of dynamic range, although you are going to obviously have to color grade your videos in post-production to get the best looks possible. So here is F-Log before and after color grading, and then here is F-Log2 before and after color grading. As you can see, I do prefer the colors post-production with F-Log2, although it is a flatter profile to begin with. With this camera, you've also got autofocus customization options as well. You've obviously got face and eye detection, but you've also got subject selection as well, from animal, bird, automotive, motorcycle and bike, airplane and train. Now, I predominantly had it in automotive and motorcycle, but you can customize them depending on what type of photography or video you're doing. This camera also supports a brand new image stabilization system, an all new 5-axis in-body stabilization system with up to 7 stops of compensation. This gives you the freedom to be a little bit more handheld with your video shots without relying either on a gimbal or tripod. I found it was really good when panning or tracking subjects. You can also put it in IS boost mode that gives you a little bit more of digital stabilization as well, which you get absolute rock solid steady shots. Now, I thought the actual battery of this camera was really good, supporting the NP-W235, the same one that you can find in the X-T4. Now, this camera is a bit better with the overall efficiency, so I got around 60 to 90 minutes of recording, and I was filming in a variety of different frame rates, all the way from 30 all the way up to 240 frames per second. So I thought that was a good amount of recording time for the camera without having an extended battery grip. This camera also boasts an unlimited record time, so the actual video doesn't stop at 29:59 like other cameras. This camera actually has no record limit, and you're actually limited by either the battery or the SD card's memory. So overall, what do I think of this camera and what was it like using on the day? Well, I must say I really enjoyed this camera, especially with the amount of customization you have available, from up to 18 different color profiles, including that new F-Log2, which offers up to 14 stops of dynamic range and a really nice flat profile. It was really easy to color grade, and it also offers a great amount of resolution, all the way up to 6.2K, great for cropping in on your shot, as well as offering up to ultra slow motion, 8 times slower than normal life, which is obviously 240 frames, although that is only offered in 1080p. And I also thought that it handled its overheating problems quite well. Obviously, I wasn't in a very hot climate, but I felt it did handle that particular situation really, really nicely. And with the reduced amount of rolling shutter with its new X-Trans stacked sensor, I think this is going to be an absolute great camera if you're wanting to take your videography to the next level. Make sure to write down in the comments below if you want to see any tests with this particular camera. We will hopefully doing a future video all about the photography very soon, but make sure to write all of that down in the comments below. I've been James for Wex Photo Video, and I'll catch you guys next time.